removing TikTok here soon. Oh, welcome back everybody to Clicks and Bricks. My name is Ken. Where every day we talk about business and technology. If you like business and technology, smash that like and subscribe button so that you can get updated when we come out with new episodes. I'm really excited because this week we have our first guest. Bobby Shanks is going to be our guest this week. He's going to be in this. He's going to be on a Zoom call with us on Friday. We're really going to add this whole concept of interviewing business owners and entrepreneurs and people that have started their own businesses. We're going to be adding that more and more over the next several weeks. And I'm hoping that the show almost completely converts to just hanging out with business owners and entrepreneurs and stuff and really getting to know what makes them tick. I think that would be, and their origin stories on how they started their businesses. I think that would be a great addition to Clicks and Bricks. If you'd like to join my text line community, 314-370-2871. That's my personal text line community. You can ask me any question about business, technology, personal questions, life questions, anything you want. I don't care. Bring it, and I will do my best to answer it, open and honestly. So that's my text line community. In today's episode, the entirety is brought to you by Enlink.com. Rapport made easy. Go to Enlink.com. My Enlink account is Enlink.com/Ken. All my social media profiles in one location. I give my fans one URL, and they can see all of my social media platforms, my website, my TikTok address, my Cash App, everything I need them to see about me in one URL. Nice, easy, short. Get your URL today before they all run out. Moving on to the first story of the day. TikTok jumps into VR. This is really exciting stuff. They purchased so it's ByteDance is the company that owns TikTok, and they purchased a company called Pico, who was, I did not know this at all, the third largest virtual reality headset producer in the world, right? So they produce the third most number of headsets in the world, and I know Oculus is number one. I have no idea who number two is. But anyway, this is TikTok going head to head with Facebook's Oculus group. I love it. I think it's a great thing. I think we're going to see some really cool innovation from the TikTok community with VR. When we start getting VR headsets and we can do VR creator worlds, then that's going to be some really cool shit, right? And little tip, this is not financial advice at all. There's a crypto coin called Render. RNDR is the ticker, RNDR, and what Render coins are going to do is they're setting up a decentralized rendering farm, global rendering farm. So I think this coin is going to have a lot of potential long term. It's kind of hard to get if you've got a MetaMask wallet. Jump on that MetaMask wallet and try to get some today. Right now it's trading just over, I don't know, I don't follow that real quick, and this is not a crypto channel, but with VR hitting the mainstream, and we have a blockchain community that creators can send their artwork to and be rendered very quickly across thousands of computers in the world, and we're tokenizing the rendering possibilities of that, the possibilities and where we're headed. The Render coin has a lot of potential to grow. It's got real world functionality, and it's going to be a hard one to beat. Moving on, this was a little political, and I'm not going to try to go there too much, but China bans kids from playing video games during the week. It's kind of bizarre. So they get 1 hour of video game play on Friday, a kid in China. And what do they call a kid in China? It's hard to say. But on Friday nights, they're allowed to play for 1 hour of gameplay, a video game, between the hours of 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's got to be the shittiest hour of Fortnite in the whole planet, right? It's got to be horrible. And I guess, so they're going to have thousands of kids rushing to the computers and going online at 8 o'clock. I hope their infrastructure, right now, the infrastructure supports kind of a cascading effect of people coming on and off the network all the time. So you can have a bunch of idle network time. I guess that's going to be, the businesses aren't going to be running, so hopefully the network bandwidth is down during that time. Just seems really bizarre, and I think it's actually, this is a parent's job in America. Thank God we live in America to where we can make the decisions on what we're going to do with our free time. even though most of y'all choose to do really shitty stuff with, right? And you're consuming instead of creating, but that's your forte, man. If that's how you want to live your life and that's what makes you happy, then do it. The video games, I know for my son at least, he's nonverbal autistic. He plays a couple of games, and for him, it's really good. It teaches him, you fail and you try again and you keep trying, so it builds that tenacity in him. It builds, self-conscious, self-awareness, and pride in yourself when you do accomplish something bigger. It helps you turn on that part of your brain that really, hyper focuses on one thing. I don't think video games are bad. Like, I just don't. And maybe I'm weird for that, but I think it's fantastic if a kid loves a game. And there's balance in all things, right? And it takes a long time as an adult even to figure out how to balance some things. I know if you put me in a bar, I'll probably sit there for way longer than I should. But that's my choice, right? And I'm an American, and I get those, I have the opportunity to make my decisions and move forward. And I love that about this country, and I'm very grateful that I live in this country and I don't have restrictions like no video games on Tuesday night. What if I'm bored and I want to play a video game? Right? If I've got a bad day and I want to play that game, right? So it's just a weird set of rules. I understand where they're going. I don't think it's going to last long. I think the kids are going to get burnt out faster. They're not going to have a way to disassociate from school, and their hand-eye coordination is going to go to shit pretty quickly, right? So that's my take on China's banning games for kids. They could play on 1 hour on Friday night, all weekend long, and on holidays. But I don't know how many. They got Chinese New Year, which is like a whole month, right? They shut down all the factories, we'll all the factories, so they got one whole good month of gameplay. They'll get really good. So yeah, probably the Fortnite's gonna be really bad during Chinese New Year. You're gonna have all these Chinese kids just whipping all of our asses, but maybe not anymore because they're not gonna be practiced, right? So anyway, moving on. Zoom stock plunges as sales growth slows. Well, no shit, right? I mean, I think everybody saw the bubble for the Zoom coming, right? It was everybody rushed to Zoom. I've had a Zoom account for several years. I did not get one because of COVID. I wonder how many new accounts they got. Is it in here? They had a 355% growth in sales reported this time last year, and revenue was up 54% from a year ago in the quarter. Zoom's a great tool. It's integrated with all kinds of stuff. I can't see the company going anywhere anytime soon, but with VR and all this other stuff, I'm not sure what the future of video conferencing is. And, it's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. I think there's room for a lot of different technologies. I don't think it's Zoom or VR, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. I think we're going to have both. And I think a really cool concept is we're going to have 2-dimensional things inside of our 3-dimensional metaverse, right? We're still going to have virtual computers inside of our metaverse that we can go Google stuff in, right? Because the metaverse is going to be really talking with people and interacting with people in kind of this virtual world with your avatar. But you're still going to need to, I can definitely see us keeping our headset on and pulling up a virtual browser and Googling something inside the virtual reality world. So I think 2D landscapes are going to exist quite frequently inside of the 3D worlds. So all you 2D developers, you still have something to do, right? There's still a lot of work to do in that 2D flat screen pane of glass world, and I think there will be for a very long time. Just you're going to have to deploy it, one on the PC today like we have, but then also inside of virtual worlds. And then what virtual world ends up winning? Is it going to be a race? Hopefully, they let us swap between virtual reality worlds, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot that are compatible with each other, and then there's going to be these closed-off worlds like Apple's world, where, hey, if you want to play in this garden, this is the only garden you can get to, and you got to buy this set of hardware, and that kind of stuff. But I definitely feel like the world is going decentralized and not centralized, so I'm hoping that's the case. Another political news, so I'll just tell you right now, I was exposed to COVID the other day, so I'm not going home. I'm sleeping in the office. and that's a little bit rough for me. So my wife brought me my clothes today. I was a little bit in disarray, and I did not pull the stories today. My team pulled the stories, and I think they did a great job, but these are a little more political than I normally like to talk about, and but we'll talk about them anyway. And this one is straight up political world, but it's still about business and tech. So Facebook has new moves to lower news feeds political volume. So I don't know, I think they're just changing their algorithm. The changes could reduce traffic to some new publishers, particularly companies that post a lot of political content. So the desire here, I think, is Facebook has been one of the best tools in history to drive a wedge between communities. It's a fantastic tool. I love Facebook. I use it every single day of my life. I build ads on it. I communicate. I chat with my wife. I chat with my mom. I talk to old friends. I use it to prospect for new business, just like I do with LinkedIn. I do all kinds of stuff in the Facebook community, and I love it. But I know that I have some friends that post political stuff quite a bit, and I hide them from my news feeds in all actuality, because Dolly Parton gave me the best advice ever, and that's, I'm not a political speaker, so why am I commenting on politics, right? And I definitely have that opinion. I'll talk about politics a little bit here, but man, I'm really not going to go into my beliefs too much, other than I'm a conservative American man, right? I'll have no problems telling you that, and that probably tells you a lot about me on the other side. But I think this is fantastic. I really wish, and Reddit's right on the other side of this story, right? So Facebook is trying to show less of it, and the next story is Reddit. But I think that the differences are very, very dramatic. Facebook, because of the way the algorithms run, if you like a radical left-wing post, Facebook's going to show you more left-wing radical stuff. If you like right-wing radical stuff, Facebook's going to show you more of that right-wing stuff. So they don't make an effort at all to diversify your reading, right? Which is really, really bad. So when you're on Facebook, people use it as a news source, and they get information there, and they get misinformation, fake news, right? Which is just really misinformation or propaganda. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. So Facebook's been really is a propaganda machine like no other, and they're making an attempt, at least now. And I don't blame Facebook for this. I don't think it's their fault. They're trying to create a world where you get the kind of content that you want. But politics are evil, and evil people run them sometimes, unfortunately, and they take advantage and manipulate that ecosystem. It's sad, but that's the world that we live in. And Facebook, I hope you figure this out, because it's a challenge. I understand it's a challenge. You want to give people what they want, but at the same time, you now have an obligation as the largest social media network in the world to be giving, unbiased information, or something, at least not one-sided information. The fact-checking stuff has been decent. I like that. It's not too intrusive. The reveal this photo has suggestive content or something like that. I like that. It gives me the decision if I want to see that or not. But after that fact, Facebook starts promoting that kind of content to me after I've liked it or I've watched it for a long period of time. So I like the fact that they're doing that. Last story of the day, and then we go on to our growth tip. Reddit turns down moderators who want action on COVID misinformation. Well, I think the problem is they're calling it COVID misinformation, and Reddit, if you're familiar with Reddit, it is one of the most bizarre places on the planet. It has a huge readership, has huge commenters, like just massive number of people on Reddit constantly commenting. They do not hold back at all. They let their theories fly, they let their stuff go, but they do it in a way where everybody has a voice. And I'm just going to read here the comment, if I can find it. Statement came in a response from a letter, okay, in a subreddit, and I can't find it, but basically he said, these people have opinions, and they're allowed to post them on Reddit, and they're allowed to talk about them on Reddit. and just because your opinion differs from theirs, doesn't mean that we have to take their stuff down, that this is really an open forum. And it's probably the most American thing. It's scary because people can get this information and think that it's true, or they can get wrong information and think that it's true. So do your own damn research, people. Like I read it on Facebook, is becoming the Mythbusters proved it kind of for today. And I trust Mythbusters a hell of a lot more than I trust a post on Facebook, right? Because people can pay to get those up there. Right? They pay to put that information in front of you, and they want you to think a certain way, and they do, and they're really damn good at making you think certain ways. So Reddit having this open forum is fantastic. Now, the blowback that Steve Huffman, the CEO, gets is that he calls it, a variance from the consensus opinion, right? And they're calling it science. Well, science in our world has lied to us multiple times, right? So our science isn't that good. And it's not that we don't trust science, it's that we don't necessarily, or not even me, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I got all my vaccinations, I got all that stuff, but the people that are arguing this are not saying that they don't trust science, right? They're not saying that at all, at least I don't think, at least people that I talk to. What they're saying is, we don't trust this set of science, right? Just like we don't trust that Pluto was a planet and now it's not, and that was science. And the atom was the smallest thing in the world, and that talcum powder is great for us, and that cigarettes are healthy, right? I mean, these are all pieces of science that we've had in our history that are not accurate. So I don't know why we're so egotistical to think that our science is perfect today. It hasn't been tested out yet. The results are really great on the vaccine so far, from what I'm reading. But it's people's own prerogative, and this is, luckily we live in America, so people get to make their own choices. I think the vaccination is great for most people. It might not be for everybody. That's your personal choice, not my business. I'm staying in my office right now because I was near somebody with COVID yesterday, and I talked to my wife, and we both had antibodies, so we're pretty okay. But our son's autistic. We don't really know, so she's like, "Hey, why don't you just sleep at the office for a couple days?" Just to be safe, right? Just to be cautious, not to bring it into the house, because we also have grandparents that come over a lot and stuff like that. So vaccination obviously doesn't necessarily get rid of the virus, but you can still carry it. So still, if you're exposed, you have people in your life that are going through chemotherapy or radiation or anything like that, like I do, it's still a good idea to keep yourself away from them, even if you have the antibodies, even if you've been vaccinated, even if you've been previously infected. So I'll get off that soapbox. I'm going to go on to my growth tip for the day. Yesterday I talked to you about living with your eyes closed, and I said don't do it, right? And that was kind of shitty advice. How do I not do that, Ken? I'm always on cruise control. I'm never in the moment. I'm not driving my life. Circumstances are driving my life. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to take the driver's seat. I don't know how to open my eyes. So I'm going to give you a tip on how to do that. And it's a challenging one, and it's going to be different for everybody. So I'm going to start with the 1 hour alarm. If you wake up and you've got 16 hours of awake, and I break my day up into 8 hours at the office, 8 hours at my other company, and 8 hours of sleep is how I break up my day. So I'm up for 16 hours a day, which is great. I'm really at my other job for about 5 hours. Hang out and watch TV with the wife for a couple hours before bed. Set an alarm for every hour on the hour, and every hour on the hour, stop, take 30 to 60 seconds to acknowledge where you're at, what you're working on, and what you want to accomplish. If you're a goal setter, if you set goals this morning or you set goals last week, 30 or 60 seconds, that's all it takes to stop. Be mindful of, hey, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to control what I do next. The world doesn't control me. I'm driving this life. I think you'll find some big jumps in your progress in life. Now, the caveat there is depending on what you do, right? So if you are a programmer and you like to program and you've got time slotted out because it takes time to get into the zone, right? Or an artist, and you need like 3 to 5 hours in that zone just focused, and you need to bust out the rest of the world, you're probably already driving your own life. But if you are that person and you're struggling, for those hours, shut that alarm clock off. Don't break your creative flow to get back in the driver's seat, right? But if you're just checking email, calling clients, doing sales calls, going to conferences, doing educational stuff, things that you don't necessarily have to be totally engrossed in, stop, breathe, tell yourself, hey, I'm in control of my next actions. I'm in control of what happens next in my life. And that's all. And there's obviously times that you're not always in control, right? My wife doesn't want me to go home tonight because of the COVID stuff. Power outages happen, hurricanes happen, earthquakes happen, all these things happen. You're not always going to be in control. You're going to have to live some of your life in survival mode or, just reaction mode. But most of the time you don't. Most of the time you can control what you're doing. You can control what you're working on. So take that 30 or 60 seconds, once an hour, once every 3 hours, whatever works best for you. It doesn't really matter, but just some time to stop. Tell yourself, Kenny, I'm in control. I can drive this car. The world does not dictate what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a decision to do X, Y, or Z, and then I'm going to do that thing, right? I heard a guy talking the other day, and he said for this particular exercise, whenever you stop, you take that 30 or 60 seconds and you think about, okay, what am I going to do in the next hour? One thing that you can do to train yourself to actually get that done is tell yourself little bitty tasks to do and then do them. So the one example that he gave is at the top of the hour, if you're really struggling, you're breaking focus all the time, that you could, at the top of that hour, say, okay, I'm going to do 2 push-ups and then do those 2 push-ups. What you're doing is you're telling your brain, when I make a decision, I do that thing, right? I don't just talk about my decisions. I say it, then I do it. And that will start creating a pattern, right? I train kids, right? I train little guys how to box. And I tell all of them, and I tell their moms, if they don't make their bed every day that week, they can't come to practice on Saturday. And they're always like, why? I'm like, because when you wake up in the morning and you make your bed, you start in a winning mood. You made the decision and you did it, right? You didn't just make the decision and then let it flop around. So my kids that I train on boxing, if they don't make their bed every day during the week, they cannot come to practice. And the reason for that is when you set yourself up, when you say you're gonna do something and you do it, and you do that repeatedly, even on small tasks, you train yourself that you do what you say you're gonna do. You don't become a person that just talks about the shit that they're gonna do. You are about it, you don't talk about it, and that's the way we like to live our lives. If you'd like to join my text line community, 314-370-2871. I will not try to sell you anything on that line. I will only send you information and tips and tricks. I get about 1 to 4 text messages a month out, so not a whole lot. You won't be spam from me. That's all for today, folks. Get back to work.